The knock came soft, too soft for a branch, too even for wind. 3 taps, then quiet, then 3 more. Ruth didn't move. The stove ticked behind her, metal cooling from last night's fire. She sat with the quilt over her knees and one hand wrapped around her old mug. Her other hand didn't stop shaking. She stared at the curtain. Tap, tap, tap. Not the door, the window, kitchen side. The one Wade always came through when he forgot his key. Same rhythm, same damn time of morning. She rose slow, each bone stiff with knowing. Pulled the curtain back half an inch. Nothing. But the fog on the outside glass had a mark in it. Finger drawn. A swirl like someone testing temperature. The shape faded as she watched it. She stood still. Tap. This time louder. She snapped the curtain back wide. He stood there, barefoot in the frost. A boy. 10 maybe. Hair slicked back. Eyes dark as cellar mud. Shirt too thin. Pants cuffed wrong. Arms by his side. Staring through the glass. "Leave," she whispered. He didn't hear. She opened the door 1 inch. "What do you want?" "Coffee," the boy said. Her breath caught. His voice. Too low. Too warm. Too familiar. "Where are your folks?" she asked. "Gone." "You lost?" "No." "You hurt?" He looked down, toes blue. He shrugged. "You from across the ridge?" He shook his head. "You have a name?" He looked up, smiled. "You know my name," he said. She gripped the doorknob. Her feet didn't feel the cold creeping in. Her lips moved before she meant them to. "Wade." He nodded. "I thought you might have forgotten." Her knees hit the floor before her hand reached for the lock. She slammed the door shut, slid the bolt, backed away until she hit the stove. The mug shattered on the floor. The boy just stood there, through the window, watching. She turned off the porch light, sat back down, covered her eyes. Outside, the boy sat too, cross-legged, facing the house. The sun didn't come up right. It smeared gray across the trees like a secret refusing to rise. She didn't sleep, didn't blink, just sat and watched him watching her. At noon, she opened the door again. "Go home. This is home. You're not him. I didn't say I was. You said his name. You said it first." She threw a wool blanket at him. "Take this and leave." He wrapped it around his shoulders, smelled it. "You still use the same soap?" "Don't." He stepped toward the door. "You still keep the stove too hot. Wade never liked the heat." She slammed the door again. By dusk, he was gone. The next morning, she opened the back door and found him sitting on the steps. He looked up at her, face calm. "I fed the hens. They don't like strangers." They didn't peck. She looked past him. Coop gate open, feed bin closed. "You sleep outside?" "I sleep light." "You cold?" "No." "You hungry?" He didn't answer. She shut the door again. The third morning, he was inside, sitting at the kitchen table, legs crossed, same chair Wade used, same mug in front of him, steam curling. She didn't scream. "Who let you in?" "You did." "Once, not this time." "You used to hum when you stirred the eggs." "I don't hum." "You did." "Get out." He looked down at the mug. "You made 2 cups." She hadn't realized. Her hands trembled again. She took the second cup, poured it out. The boy didn't flinch. "I know this house," he said. "No, you don't. There's a crack under the sink where the mice come through. Lots of houses have that. There's a burn mark in the pantry from the time you dropped the lantern. Stop. You still keep Wade's boots by the door." She did. She reached for the phone. "There's no dial tone," he said. She lifted it anyway. Dead. "Phone line's old," he said. "Always snapped in wind." Her lip bled from biting. "You need to leave." "I just got back." "You were never here." The boy stood, walked to the front window, pulled the curtain back. "Wade planted that tree crooked on purpose," he said. "Said it'd grow toward the porch for shade." She stared at him. "No one else knew that," she said. "I did." He turned, smiled again. "Want me to cut firewood?" She didn't speak. "Wade always did it Saturday mornings." She opened the drawer, pulled out the old revolver, pointed it at him with 2 hands. "You take 1 step toward that shed, and I'll—" He didn't blink. "Wade never loaded that gun." She lowered it. "Don't test me." "I'm not." He stepped outside. She watched him from the window as he walked to the shed. Not a stumble, not a pause. He lifted the axe the way Wade used to. Left hand high, right low. Same grip, same rhythm. Each swing perfect. The wood split clean. The sound echoed across the field. She stared. Her hand still shook, but not from cold. The boy turned. He waved once. Then he called out, "Ruthie!" No one had called her that in 15 winters, and the axe kept swinging. The snow hadn't melted, not overnight, not from the weak sun that barely warmed the porch. Ruth opened the door slow, kettle still hissing on the stove behind her. The boy stood where he had last, barefoot again. Same shirt, same eyes. "Put shoes on." "They don't fit." "Your feet'll rot off." Wade's didn't. She looked past him. No footprints, just ice. "You shouldn't be here." "You opened the door." She stepped out onto the porch, wool coat wrapped tight. The boards groaned under her. He didn't flinch. "What's your name?" "You know it." "Say it." He smiled. "You wouldn't believe it." "Try me." "You used to whisper it before bed." "Right after the lights went off." She didn't move. "You'd say, 'Wade, don't you go leaving me in the morning.'" She shut her eyes. "You're not him." "I never said I was." "Then why talk like him?" He tilted his head. "You need kindling." "Don't change the subject." "Not changing, just offering." "I don't need help." "You never asked for it." He stepped forward. Her hand gripped the railing. "You call me Ruthie again, and I'll put you in the woods." "You always say that. Then you cook breakfast." "Don't." He reached into his coat pocket, pulled out something small, thin. "You dropped this by the woodpile." Her wedding band. She hadn't worn it in years. "Where'd you find that?" "You know where." "No, I don't." He placed it on the railing. Turned. "You want me gone?" "Yes." "I'll go." He started down the steps, stopped, turned back. "Ruthie." Her jaw clenched. "I miss coffee with eggshells in it." She slammed the door. Inside, the kettle had gone dry. She poured what little water was left, sat at the kitchen table. The mug shook. Her hands didn't. The boy stayed gone until dusk. She thought maybe that was it. Maybe he'd vanished like fog. She stepped out onto the porch, looked across the trees. "Good," she whispered. A sharp whistle broke the still. She froze. Low. Software drawn out. Her eyes locked on the tree line. It came again. 2 notes. Rise. Fall. Same whistle Wade used to call the dog. "No." She stepped down. Boots crunching old snow. "Don't do this." The wind shifted. Something moved through the trees. Something fast. Low. A blur of black and mud and memory. The dog came bounding out of the woods. Tongue out. Ears flat, tail wild. "Bo." The hound ran straight for her. Slammed into her knees. Whined. Licked her hand. She stumbled back. Stared down. "That's not." She dropped to her knees. Ran her hands through the fur. Same scar over the eye. Same chunk missing from the ear. She buried him 4 springs back. She remembered digging. Alone. No one came. Not even the sheriff. She whispered his name again. "Bo." He licked her wrist. The boy stepped out from behind the porch. "He missed you." She looked up. "You did this?" I remembered the whistle. "That dog's dead." "He don't know that." She stood. Pulled Bo close. "This some kind of trick?" "No." "You hiding him somewhere?" "No." "He smells the same." The boy nodded. "He remembers the porch, the shade in summer, the sound of your boots in the morning." She pulled away from the dog, stepped toward the boy. "You tell me now." "I already did." "You're not Wade." "I didn't say I was." "But you talk like him." "I remember what he remembered." "That ain't normal. No." "You trying to scare me?" "No." "Then what?" "Be home." "You're not." Bo sat beside the boy like he never left. The boy scratched behind his ears. Bo leaned in. "He wouldn't have left if you asked him to stay." Ruth shook her head. "I buried him. You buried both of us." "Don't." He looked up. "You think things stay buried just because you cover them? You're just a boy." "Maybe." She stepped forward, grabbed his arm, cold, bone thin. "Where are your parents?" "I told you. They dead." "Maybe." "You've been sleeping in the woods." "Sometimes." "You've been in my house." "Yes." "You take anything?" "No." "Then why come back?" "Because you called." "I didn't." "You thought it." She let go. Backed off. "You hungry?" He nodded. "I ain't feeding you." "I brought my own." He pulled out a biscuit from his coat. "You made these for Wade when he was sick, with too much salt and no butter." Her chest rose sharp. "That's a lucky guess." "Maybe." He sat on the porch step. Bo curled beside him, warm breath rising in the air. Ruth stood in the doorway. You planning to stay? Depends. On what? If you lock the door tonight. She looked past him, into the woods, toward the spot where she buried Bo. The dirt there never grew grass again. She looked at her ring on the railing, slipped it into her coat pocket. Then she closed the door, but didn't lock it. The rusted bicycle creaked up the gravel path like it hated the cold. Deputy Eli wore his father's badge like it was borrowed time, too big for his chest, too clean for this road. He stopped short at the gate. Miss Ruth. She didn't wave, just stood stiff on the porch, coffee untouched. You call in? No. Neighbor did, said someone's been on your property. She didn't answer. Behind her, the boy stood in the shadow of the screen door, silent. Eli noticed. Who's that? Ruth didn't speak. Eli looked again. He yours? No. Relative? No. Name? Didn't say. Eli leaned on his handlebars. Kid trespassing? He's just been around. He talk. Some. The boy stepped onto the porch. No shoes. No jacket. Afternoon, he said. Eli blinked. You cold, kid? No. Your folks around? No. You got a home? Here. Eli scratched his neck. That true, Miss Ruth? No. The boy coughed once, short and dry. Eli flinched. That same cough lived in his chest last week. You sick? Eli asked. No. You sure? Sure. You been in town? No. You been anywhere near school? I don't go to school. Eli nodded like that explained things. Well, you know how it is. Folks worry. I'm not folks. Eli smirked, turned back to Ruth. You want me to take him in? No. You sure? Yes. He squinted at her. You all right? I'm fine. You don't look fine. Then stop looking. Eli looked at the boy again. The boy didn't blink. Something off about him. Eli muttered. The boy repeated it under his breath. Something off about him. Same tone, same drawl. Eli stepped back. You mocking me? No. Better not be. Wouldn't dare. Ruth stepped between them. He hasn't done anything. Yet. I said he stays. Eli nodded slow. Well, ain't my house. He pulled the badge from his chest pocket, wiped it with his sleeve. Still don't feel right, he said. Then leave. Eli kicked the stand up on his bike, spit once, turned to go. The boy watched him roll down the hill. Just before he reached the curve, the boy mouthed words Ruth barely caught. See you again soon, son. Eli didn't hear, but Ruth did. Inside, the boy pulled on Wade's old coat, too big in the shoulders. You shouldn't have said that. He didn't listen. You mocking him. I just speak how people do. You knew he was the sheriff's kid? Everyone knows. He's got a gun now. I know. You shouldn't provoke. I didn't. You don't talk like a kid. Not anymore. She stared at the badge in his hand. The real one. Not Eli's. Where'd you get that? Found it. Where? Under the floorboards, behind the cellar. That's Wade's. I know. You buried it. You told him to burn it. He didn't. She sat. The table creaked under her weight. Why are you here? I was called. By who? You know. I don't. Yes, you do. He sat across from her, his eyes too still. Eli's not smart, the boy said. He's young. He's scared. So am I. You don't show it. You're not here to help, are you? No. She folded her hands. Then what? I'm here because he never finished it. Finished what? The boy looked at the badge, set it down on the table, spun it once. He left the door open. What door? You remember the well. Her heart stopped, just one beat. You stay away from that. I was born near it. You weren't born. I was pulled. She stood, fast. You get out of this house. He didn't move. Now. You locked the door last night, he said. I did. I got in anyway. She grabbed the poker from the stove. He didn't flinch. You won't hurt me. Try me. You'll remember. Stop. You'll remember the smell of the rope, the cold on your knees, the sound Wade made. She swung. It hit the floor beside his head. He didn't blink. Don't. He stood, stepped over. The fallen iron. I won't hurt you. Why? You already did enough. He walked to the door, opened it. The wind blew an ash from somewhere. You should check the well. Why? It's open. Then he left. She waited 3 full minutes before breathing. Then she checked the cellar. The badge was gone. The boy fell asleep in Wade's chair, knees curled, hands tucked under his chin like a picture Ruth hadn't seen since '98. She lit the lamp on the counter. It buzzed once, then held steady. No wind outside, no noise, just the boy breathing in Wade's rhythm. She pulled open the drawer beneath the sink. The old album was still there, wrapped in the pillowcase she'd used after the funeral. The cloth smelled like ash and cedar. She brought it to the table, sat slow. The boy didn't stir. She opened to the first page. Wade and the dog, the day after they married. He had the scar back then, from the fencing job near the Miller place, jagged and red, just under his ear. The scar wasn't there. She leaned closer, touched the photo. It was still warm. "That's not right," she whispered. The boy exhaled hard in the chair. She turned the page. Her and Wade at the river, her hair tied up, his shirt soaked. They were laughing. She remembered the fight they had right after. He'd thrown the cooler. In the photo, they weren't laughing anymore. She blinked. Her hand trembled. "Wade." The boy didn't answer. She flipped to the photo of the old porch. It was fall, dead leaves, and one cracked pumpkin. In the background, a shadow stood at the window, a tall figure, shoulders too broad. She hadn't noticed it before. She checked the back of the picture. Her handwriting, October, last harvest. Wade sick. The window had been empty when she wrote that. "Do you remember that day?" she asked quietly. The boy stirred, mumbled something. She stood. "What did you say?" He shifted in the chair, still asleep. Voice rough. "I miss our Sunday drives." She didn't breathe. "What did you say?" His eyelids fluttered. "Used to hum, in the truck, when we passed the silo." She grabbed the poker again. "You're dreaming." He didn't respond. "You're not him." Still nothing. She walked to the old box of frames on the shelf, pulled one out. Her mother's funeral. Wade stood beside her, hands folded, tight-lipped. But in the frame now, his hand was in hers. That wasn't how it went. She slammed the frame down. "You're not him." The boy jerked awake, sat up fast, looked at her, calm. "You were dreaming," she said. "I know. You said things. I always do. You talked like Wade." He yawned. "I remember things." "Don't say that. You're scared." "You're right." He rubbed his eyes. "Want me to leave?" "Yes." "You won't ask again." "I will." "All right." He stood, walked toward the door. She followed. At the door he turned. "You burned his clothes." "Most of them." "But not the green flannel." She froze. "You couldn't." "Leave." "You kept it in the chest under the bed." "Out." He stepped outside barefoot. "You lied about the scar." "I didn't." He smiled. "Wade told people it was fencing. It wasn't." "Then what?" "Barbed wire behind the church." "No." "You were there." "Stop." He bled. "You held his ear closed with your apron." "Stop talking." "You said it didn't look bad." The door slammed before he finished. She locked it, turned off the lamp, sat on the floor beside the photo album. The scar was back in the picture now, thin, raised, pale, but Wade's eyes were different, like he was looking at someone just behind the lens. And the shadow in the window. It was closer to the glass. The line crackled twice before it rang. Ruth hadn't dialed her sister's number in 6 years. She didn't even know if it would still work, but it did. 4th ring. "Yeah?" "It's me." A pause. "Why?" Ruth looked out the window. The boy was still outside, sitting on the edge of the porch, arms resting on his knees like Wade used to when he'd sharpen the knives. "I needed to ask something." "Is someone dead?" "Maybe." "That's not funny." "I'm not joking." "You calling from the house?" "Yes." "Jesus, Ruth. I didn't have another phone." "That land was never clean." "I know. You stayed anyway. I married into it." "You didn't have to stay after." "I had nowhere else." "You had me." "You didn't want me." "You didn't ask." They sat in silence. Ruth heard her sister's breathing shift. "What happened?" "He came back." Another pause. "Who?" "Wade." "No." "He knocked on the window." "That's not funny." "He said my name, called me Ruthie." "You said he was buried deep." "He was." "Then that's not him." "I know." "He looked like him." "No." "Sounded like him." "Too much." That thing's not Wade. I know. You don't sound scared. I'm tired. That's worse. Ruth watched the boy throw something into the yard, a pebble maybe, or bone. He sleeps in his chair, she said. The green one? Yeah. Jesus. I pulled out the photo album. The pictures changed. Of course they did. His scar disappeared. He didn't like it. He always said it made him look soft. There's a shadow in the window now. It wasn't there before. You shouldn't be in that house. I know. You need to burn something. What? Something that mattered to him. I already did. Then something that mattered to you. That's not fair. You want him gone. He's already in. You sound like Mama. Ruth closed her eyes. I don't mean that as a compliment. I know. I remember when she saw the woman in the field, her sister said. She called the preacher. He just said, "Don't make eye contact." She made eye contact. 3 days later, she stopped talking. I remember. The wind hit the glass. The boy turned his head, slow, like he heard the call of something underground. You said he came back, her sister whispered. I don't think he left. Then you never buried him, right? I did what I could. You know what's out there. I thought I did. You didn't salt the grave. I didn't believe in that then. You do now? Yes. The boy stood, walked toward the shed. He knows where everything is, Ruth said. He would. He found the tackle box. Oh no. There was a letter inside. You read it? No. Good. The boy whistled, low and soft. He brought the dog back too. Bo? Yes. That dog's been gone 4 years. I dug up the spot. It's empty. Her sister cursed under her breath. You need to leave, Ruth. I can't. You always say that. This time it's true. The boy opened the shed door, stepped in without turning the light on. You still there? Ruth asked. I'm here. You ever see something like this before? No. Then how do you know what to do? Because Mama did. She was sick. She saw too much. The line went quiet for a moment. Don't let it call you Ruthie, her sister said. It already did. It'll use your name like a key. Too late. You still got the knife Mama gave you? It's under the sink. Keep it close. It won't help. Still. The screen door creaked. Ruth turned. The boy stood in the doorway, mud up to his ankles, eyes darker than before. Who's that? Her sister asked. The boy. He's listening. He always is. The boy smiled, quiet, patient. Her sister's voice cracked. Don't let him in. He already ate at my table. Don't let him laugh. Ruth froze. Why? Because he'll sound like Wade. She laughed, long, tired. The boy laughed with her. Same tone, same pitch. Her hand trembled. Your sister never liked me much, the boy said. Ruth dropped the phone. It hit the tile hard and cracked. The line stayed open. The boy stepped forward. Who are you talking to? No one. She sounded scared. She was. Of me? No. He smiled again. That's kind of her. She stepped back. You shouldn't know that laugh. He tilted his head. You do. He walked to the stove, pulled out a chair, sat. Like he belonged. Ruth picked up the phone, dead. The boy watched her. You can call her again, he said, but she won't answer. Ruth stared at the cord, the split down the middle, the black inside. You're lying. No. She's not like me. She is now. He leaned forward. You want some coffee? She didn't answer. You always made it too strong, he said. I like it that way. She didn't sit, didn't speak. The kettle whined. Outside, the wind changed. It smelled like salt, like the river bend in winter. And somewhere inside her, Ruth felt the knife shift beneath the sink. The storm started before sunrise. Not loud, not wild, just steady and hard. Rain that didn't ask permission. Ruth watched from the porch, arms folded. The creek swelled fast. Mud climbed the banks. The boy stood in the field, soaked through, unmoving. What are you doing? She shouted. He didn't look back. You'll drown. He dropped to his knees, pressed his palms into the earth. Get in the house. He didn't answer. She stepped down, boots sliding. Her coat soaked in seconds. The wind pulled at her braid. I said, get in the house. He dug, not with a shovel. Just hands, fingers scooping wet dirt like he already knew where to go. Stop it, she said. He kept digging. She reached for his shoulder. He jerked free. "I told you—" "You never told me anything," he said. "What is this?" He didn't answer. His nails hit something solid. "Don't." He cleared the mud fast. A wooden box. Small, water-warped, familiar. She stepped back. "Don't open it." He already had. The lid cracked. Inside, a revolver wrapped in oilcloth, 2 rings bound by rusted wire, and a half-burnt envelope, her handwriting on the front. "That's not—" "You buried it." "I didn't." "Then Wade did." She stared at the rings. "That's not possible." "Which one's yours?" he asked. I never gave him a second. He held up the letter. "You want to read it?" "No." "You wrote it." "I never sent it." He unfolded it. The paper crumbled at the edges. Ink bled. "If you come back again, I won't be here." He read. "Stop. I'll be gone by morning. This place can rot without me." She stepped closer. "Give it here." "You lied." "I didn't send it." "But you meant it." He held the paper out. It ripped in the rain. "I meant it once." "You should have run." She flinched. "What?" "You should have left." "Where would I go?" "Anywhere." He was sick. He was wrong. "You don't know him." "I know what he did." She stared down at the box. "That gun's not loaded." "It is now." "Who loaded it?" "Wade." "No. He kept it for you." "That's a lie." He picked up the gun, held it loose, not aiming. He was going to use it. On who? On himself. Or you. Or both. "Shut up." "You wanted it to end." "I stayed." "Doesn't mean you forgave." He stood. She stepped back. "I'm not him," he said. "Then stop talking like him." "You still keep the flannel." "Stop." "You still sleep on his side of the bed." I said stop. "You wear your ring on a chain." She pulled the chain out from under her collar. It was still there. "You're just a boy." "I told you I was pulled." She backed up the hill. "You came to ruin this." "No." "Then why dig it up?" "You needed to see." "What?" "What you buried." "I didn't bury that box." "But you let him." The wind howled low. The trees bent like they remembered. He tucked the revolver under his coat. "I'm going to put it back." "Why?" "So you don't forget it's there." "I already forgot." "No, you didn't." She turned. "I want you gone." He started back down the slope. "You said that yesterday." "And I'll say it tomorrow." He knelt at the hole again, reburied the box. "You ever think maybe he stayed because you let him?" She didn't answer. He looked up. "You didn't lock the door last night." She walked toward the porch. "You said you would." "I forgot." "No, you didn't." He patted the dirt down smooth. "Not perfect. Just enough." "You're trying to scare me," she said. "I don't have to." "Then what are you?" "Something left behind." "Not by me." "Are you sure?" She climbed the porch steps, closed the door, locked it, watched him through the glass. He stood in the rain until night. Never moved, just stared at the spot by the creek, like something else might crawl up too. Ruth didn't want to take him into town, but he climbed in before she turned the key. "You sit quiet," she said. "I always do." He buckled the belt, small hands, calm face. "I mean it." "I know." She started the truck. The fog was thick, moved like it was thinking. "Where are we going?" he asked. "Station." "Why?" "Sheriff." "Eli won't help." "Didn't say Eli." They drove in silence. The boy hummed something low. Slow. The tune twisted. Familiar. "Don't hum that," she said. "What?" "That song. It's just a hymn. It was at the funeral." "I know." "Then don't." He stopped. She gripped the wheel tighter. Town was quiet. Wrong quiet. Post office shut. Curtains drawn at the drugstore. One flag hung half-raised on the pole outside the church. She parked beside the sheriff's office. Lights off. Door locked. "Wait here." The boy nodded. She stepped out. Knocked hard. Nothing. Tried the knob. Tried again. "Sheriff." No one answered. She walked around back. The cruiser was gone. Mail stacked. High on the step. She called Eli's number from the payphone. Rang 7 times. No voicemail, just a click. Then nothing. She walked back to the truck. "Wasn't there," she said. "Told you." "You stay in the truck." He didn't reply. She crossed the street to the diner. Open sign flickered but never held. She stepped inside. Marlene stood behind the counter wiping a cup she didn't look at. "You see the sheriff?" Ruth asked. "Nope." "You see Eli?" Nope. Phone work? Nope. Ruth looked around. No one spoke. No one ate. I need help. Marlene didn't look up. You need to go home, Ruth. I am home. Not anymore. Ruth leaned closer. What's that mean? Marlene stared at the window. You brought something back with you. I didn't bring it. Doesn't matter. You hear things. Everyone hears things. The fry cook dropped something in the back. Didn't pick it up. Ruth stepped out. The fog had thickened. The boy sat still. Same spot, staring at the courthouse steps like something might fall from them. She climbed in. No one's talking, she said. They're scared. Of what? You. She looked at him. His eyes didn't move. They think you let him in. I didn't. You didn't stop him either. The drive home took longer. The fog twisted through every turn like it wanted her to lose her way. When they pulled into the drive, the boy stepped out first. She didn't follow. He walked to the porch. Saturday, pulled something from his pocket. A pocket knife, blade worn down to a nub. He started carving. She stepped out. What is that? Just something to pass the time. She climbed the steps. What are you whittling? He didn't answer. She knelt, looked close. Is that a cross? He nodded. What's it made of? He looked at her. You know. No, I don't. He held it up. Found it near the grave. She stepped back. That's not wood. No. What is it? You already asked. She stared at it. Why a cross? For him. Who? Wade. He's already dead. Not yet. She reached for the cross. He pulled it back. You shouldn't touch it. Why not? You're not the one holding him. She looked toward the shed, toward the creek, toward the earth she'd tried to forget. Is that what this is? Yes. A ritual? No. A punishment? He smiled. You tell me. She sat on the porch rail. The fog didn't move. It held still, waiting. You know what they said in town? He didn't respond. They said it ain't my house. Is it? It was. Was it ever? She didn't answer. He kept carving, each stroke clean, precise. You plan on staying? As long as he does. He's not here. He's close. She looked out toward the tree line. Bo sat there, watching, quiet. Dogs still don't blink, she said. He never did. She nodded. Bone doesn't carve easy. He nodded. You ever try it before? Number, but I remember how. That memory yours? No. Wade's. Older. She stood. You said you're not here to help. I'm not. Then what? Just here to finish it. She looked at the cross again. Still small, still shaping. You think it'll work? He shrugged. Depends. On what? On you. She turned toward the door. You want coffee? He didn't answer. She stepped inside. Bo stayed at the tree line. The boy stayed on the porch. The cross took shape slow, like it had always known what it wanted to be. The boy waited at the bottom of the steps, jacket zipped, eyes steady. We're walking? Ruth asked. Yes. Where? You know. She didn't argue, just grabbed her coat and followed. They passed the shed. The creek, the old ash tree that never leafed after Wade cut it back wrong. Up past the ridge, she asked. He nodded. She hesitated. We don't go up there. You used to. He walked fast, barefoot again. The mud didn't seem to notice him. They moved uphill in silence, wind thick through the trees. Ruth's legs burned. Her breath came sharp. She saw the rise first, then the chimney. She stopped. No. You remember now? It burned. Not all of it. He kept walking. She followed. The cabin stood half sunken. Roof caved in. Boards blackened. But smoke curled from the chimney like it never stopped. I watched it burn, she whispered. It didn't finish. I poured gas on the floor. You missed the cellar. Number we sealed it. You sealed the door. He stepped to the porch. Boards groaned but didn't break. She stayed on the path. I came here with Wade once. More than once. Only once after the flood. He looked at her. You brought something to bury. No. Yes. What? You. She stepped back. You were afraid of what he'd done. I didn't know. You did. She looked at the door. Who's inside? You. That's not possible. Nothing here cares what's possible. The door creaked open before he touched it. She stepped up, slow, hands shaking. I can't. You already did. Inside, the cabin smelled like smoke and rain. The table stood in the center, chairs knocked sideways, one chair upright. Someone sat in it. She saw herself, hair tied back, same clothes she wore in '93, hands folded, waiting. The younger Ruth didn't look up. "She's waiting for him," the boy said. "She waited all night. She still is." "I left her." "No, I walked out." "She stayed." Ruth's voice cracked. "Why?" "She made the promise." "To who?" "To what was down there." "No, she did." "I didn't mean it." "It did." She walked to the table. Her younger self didn't move. "You can't change it," the boy said. "I know." "She remembers everything you tried to forget." "I didn't forget. You buried." Ruth leaned down, stared at her younger face. The eyes were dry, jaw locked. "She loved him," Ruth whispered. "She feared him." "I stayed." "Because you owed." "I thought I could fix it." "You fed it." She turned. "I didn't light that fire alone." "No. He started it. He tried to end it. But You watched." She clenched her fists. "I was scared. So was he. He told me not to open the cellar." "You opened it." "I had to know." "You did." She turned to the boy. "I saw what was down there." He nodded. "Then why come back?" "Because it wasn't finished." "He's gone. Number just waiting." Ruth looked toward the fireplace. Heat bled out like breath. She stepped forward. "There's something in there." He didn't stop her. She reached the hearth, knelt. Behind the flame, something shimmered. Metal. A locket. She reached in, pulled it free. It opened on its own. Inside, 2 pictures, Wade and her. Younger. Before the cabin. Before the well. She closed it. "This was mine." "Yes. I lost it. You left it. I didn't want to see his face." "You'll see worse." She stood. "You brought me here to punish me." "No." "Then what?" "To remember." "I already do." "Not enough." She turned back to the table. The chair was empty. The young Ruth was gone. "I failed her." "She failed you too." Ruth pocketed the locket, looked at the boy. "You done with me?" He shook his head. "We still have the well." She stepped outside. The air colder now, the sky dim. Behind her, the cabin burned again, silent flames. No smoke, no crackle. The boy walked ahead. "You left things inside that fire," he said. "I know." "You will again." They didn't speak the rest of the way down. She locked the front door, bolted the back, drew the chain on the cellar. The boy stood outside, watching her through the window. Didn't blink, didn't knock. She dropped the curtain, moved through the house fast, hammered the window shut, pushed a chair under the doorknob, lit every lamp. He stayed still out there, didn't move as the sun went down, just watched. She heated water, washed her hands 3 times, ate cold bread standing up. When she passed the hallway, she stopped. The coat closet was open. She hadn't opened it. Inside, Wade's boots stood clean, upright, dry, the laces neatly tied like someone just stepped out of them. She hadn't touched them in years. She reached down. The leather was warm. Her breath caught. "Get out of this house," she whispered. No answer. She turned. The kitchen light was off. She didn't turn it off. She grabbed the poker, stepped slow, stopped at the doorway. The stew was simmering. Ladle on the counter. 2 bowls, 2 spoons, steam rising, and the boy sitting at her table, elbows resting just like Wade used to. She raised the poker. He didn't look up. "You locked me out," he said. "You weren't supposed to be in." "You didn't lock the closet." She didn't move. "You like chicken stew?" he asked. "No." Wade didn't either. "Get out." "I said that once. First winter, right after the snow hit." "Who let you in?" "You did." "I boarded the windows." "You missed one." "Which one?" "The one he used." She took a step forward. "You need to go." He picked up the spoon, blew on it, took a slow bite. "Too much time," he said. She tightened her grip. "You're not him." "I never said I was." "Then stop talking like him." "I just remember what he remembered." She stepped closer. "How'd you get the boots?" "They were waiting. They were sealed in a box. They were laced up. Those were buried with him." "No." "I was there." "You didn't look inside the casket." Her knees shook. "Where were they then?" "Right where you left them." "I don't believe you." "You don't want to." She pointed the poker. "You think you scare me?" "I think I remind you." "Of what?" What didn't die? She backed away. I buried him. I saw the dirt go down, but not what came back. She threw the poker. It hit the table. He didn't flinch. She turned and ran down the hall, flung open the closet. The boots were gone. She staggered back, turned. He stood behind her. You left the stew boiling. How did you? Same way Wade did. Quiet. You don't belong here. I never did. She reached for the knife drawer, empty. You looking for this? He asked. He held the blade. Clean. Familiar. She didn't speak. He set it down on the hall table, stepped back. You cooked for him. You stayed for him. You hated him. I didn't. You pitied him. I buried him. Too late. She stepped forward. What do you want from me? Truth. I told you. Not all of it. He stepped closer. You used to hum when you peeled potatoes, even when your hands bled. Stop. You cried in the shed every time he came back from town. I never. You did. Her voice cracked. You saw that? I was there. No. I was what was left when you stopped praying. The clock in the kitchen stopped ticking. She heard it. The silence it left behind. What are you really? She whispered. He looked up. Wade's memory, your guilt. A piece of both. You're lying. Does it matter? He stepped back into the kitchen. The boots thudded behind him on the floor. Dry, mud-free, upright. Put those away, she said. They found their way home. She knelt, touched them again, still warm, still laced. She stood. He sat at the table, waiting. One bowl or two? He asked. She stared at the clock. At the boots. At the knife on the table. Just one, she said, and she sat. Ruth held the revolver with both hands, steady, finger on the trigger. The boy stood in the center of the kitchen, calm, watching her like she was the one out of place. Who are you? He didn't speak. I want a name. Still nothing. I said, give me your goddamn name. He blinked once, tilted his head. You know it. No. You do. She cocked the hammer. Say it. He smiled. You remember that preacher from the flood? She froze. The one Wade dragged out of the river, split skull, black coat. That man drowned. Number he whispered something first. I was there. You looked away. I saw the body. You saw the deal. No. You felt it. She backed up a step. What deal? He walked forward, slow. Wade offered something. No. For the land. Liar. For the rain to stop. You're lying. For the bones to stay buried. She raised the gun higher. Don't move. You were part of the price. She nearly dropped the revolver. That's not true. He stopped, one pace away. He gave up your silence. What? That's what he offered. No. Your silence. You're forgetting. I chose to stay. You forgot why. She swallowed hard. I remember enough. Number, you remember what was safe. She stepped sideways. I saw the field. I saw what was left. You looked at the hole, not what crawled out. I buried it. It followed you home. She pointed the gun straight at his chest. Give me your name. I won't. Why? You'll break. Try me. He leaned in. Say it first. No. Say the name Wade never said. I don't know it. You do. She whispered through her teeth. Tell me. He smiled again. Not wide. Not cruel. Just sure. I can't say it. Why? He promised. To who? To what he saw in the water. That was just a body. It wasn't empty. She pressed the barrel to his chest. Say it. I'm already inside. She pulled the trigger. Click. Nothing. She stared at the revolver. You didn't check it, he said. I loaded it. You forgot the last shell. She backed away. Dropped the gun. Tell me your name. She whispered. I'm what you locked in the cellar. No. I'm what called Wade down the well. No. I'm what he fed. She reached for the kitchen drawer. Empty. He burned the books after, the boy said. The old pages. The names carved into the barn. You're not real. I waited in the floorboards. Stop. I curled up in the sound of his boots. Shut up. I learned your walk, your breath, your voice when you cry in the dark. She fell back against the wall. Hands shaking. What are you? I'm what you forgot to forget. I want a name. I don't use names anymore. She slid to the floor. I used to have one, he said. She looked up. I was a boy once, before the flood. That was 70 years ago. I know. I saw that preacher die. You saw him change. He was gasping. He was offering. She covered her ears. He said something to Wade. Yes. He whispered in that voice. Same one I use now. She sobbed once. Low, sharp. What did Wade promise? That you'd stay. I didn't know. That was the deal. What happens now? You remember. I don't want to. You must. Why? To finish it. I can't. You already started. She stared at the ceiling. The light above the sink flickered. He sat beside her. Quiet. You want to forget again? He asked. Yes. It won't hold. I'll try. He leaned close. You want me to go? Yes. Then say it. She looked at him. Eyes wet. Face pale. I can't. He stood. Then I'll stay. She didn't stop him when he walked down the hall. Didn't move when he passed the closet. He opened the cellar door. Quiet. Smooth. She heard the stairs creak. He whispered something before he vanished into the dark. The light above the sink went out. They walked before sunrise. No words, just frost cracking underfoot and breath fogging the air. Ruth didn't ask where they were going. She already knew. The boy walked ahead, calm like he'd taken the path 1,000 times. Maybe he had. You sure you want to see it? He asked. No. Good. The trees thinned. The hill sloped down. Mud turned to stone. Wet stone. The drowned church sat crooked in the hollow. Steeple gone. Roof half collapsed. Cross split in two. Ruth stopped. You said this place was burned. It was. It's still here. Some things don't burn right. They walked around it. No birds, no sound. Beyond it, the graveyard. All stones tilted, moss covered, names lost to rain and time. You come here often? She asked. Often enough. He stepped over the low gate. She followed, slower. They passed the graves. Her mother, the sheriff, 3 children with no last name. And then the well. No marker, just the circle of stone. A rotted wooden cover sagging in the middle. Rope frayed and half buried. Ruth stopped 5 feet back. Wade brought me here once. I know. He said it was dry. It wasn't. He said it was sealed. It never was. She stepped closer. You remember what he did? The boy nodded. He dropped his voice down there. She stared at the opening. What does that mean? He stood over it and whispered what he wanted. What did he want? For things to stay buried. The boy crouched, touched the old rope. And what did he give? You. She didn't answer. He gave your forgetting, the boy said, and his guilt. That was the trade. Ruth stared into the dark. The stones around the well slick with something darker than rain. You heard him scream here? Not him. Then who? The thing that answered. Wade was never the same after that day. No. He stopped praying. Stopped sleeping. He didn't need to anymore. She looked at the boy. What crawled out? Not what? Who? She gripped the edge of the stone. Cold bit her skin. You said he dropped his voice. Yes. And it crawled back up? After 15 winters. That's how long he's been gone. He's not gone. He's dead. He left something behind. She looked at the boy. You. He nodded. I'm not him. But part of him? A piece. She leaned over the well. Dark. Deep. Silent. What's down there now? Memory. Rot. Hunger. She swallowed. Can it hear us? It already has. She backed away. I should have left this place. You tried. I stayed. You had to. I thought he loved me. He did, but not more than the deal. She wiped her hands on her coat. What happens if I speak into it? Depends what you say. If I say nothing, it waits. If I break the deal, it listens closer. She stepped to the edge again. Why bring me here? You needed to remember. I already did. Not the end. She closed her eyes. I screamed when he pulled me here. I begged. He didn't hear you. He wouldn't look at me. He was afraid if he looked, it would see. Her lips shook. I wanted to push him in. You almost did. I hated him that day. So did he. She leaned closer. The wind shifted. Something moved below. Wet and slow. Do you feel that? She whispered. Yes. What is it? Him. No. What's left of him? She turned away. I can't face this. You already did. She sat on the edge of the well. What now? You listen. To what? What crawled out? The boy sat beside her. I'm tired, she said. You've carried too much. I want it gone. It won't leave easy. I know. He reached into his pocket, pulled out the locket from the fire. Drop it in, he said. She stared. Why? It belongs there. She took it, held it tight. I kept this after the wedding. I know. I wore it to the funeral. I remember. I buried it. It came back. She looked at him. So will you? He didn't speak. She stood, held the locket over the dark. The chain slipped through her fingers. The locket fell. No sound when it hit. Just silence. Heavy. Whole. What did I just do? She asked. You gave it back. And you? I'll follow it down. No. I'm done walking. You're still just a boy. I never was. He smiled once, then stood, walked to the edge. Will I see you again? She asked. He looked back. Not if it worked. Then he stepped down. Into the dark. The rope slipped after him, and the well sealed itself with fog. Ruth stood with the revolver slack in her hand, the well in front of her, the boy kneeling beside it. The air was still, cold, the kind that feels hollow. He didn't look back. You said he's down there. He is. I don't hear anything. You're not listening. I've heard enough. You've only heard yourself. She stepped forward. What happens if I speak? It listens. And if I say nothing, it waits. The boy placed his hand on the stone edge. It remembers your voice, Ruth. I burned the things that tied him here. Not all of them. I gave back the locket. You kept the ring. She looked at her finger. I forgot it was there. It didn't. She stepped to the edge, looked down. Dark, silent. You said he dropped his voice. Yes. Now it's mine. Yes. She raised the revolver. Will this stop it? No. Will it stop you? He looked up. I'm already stopping. He touched his chest. Calm. You're the boy from the flood. I was. You were pulled. I stayed under too long. Wade should have let you go. He did. She closed her eyes. He said your name once. He wasn't supposed to. He told me never to speak it. You didn't. Until now. Ruth lowered the revolver. You want me to say it again? Only if you mean it. She leaned over the well. Wind curled up from the dark, cold and wrong. She whispered, Elias. The name echoed down like it knew the way. The well didn't answer. She waited. Then a voice rose, low, dragging her name out slow. Ruthie. Her throat caught. Don't listen, the boy said. It's his voice. No. It sounds like him. That's how it gets in. The voice called again. Ruthie, come down. Cold. Down here, just like the mountain. She stepped back. That's Wade. It's not. It remembers him. It wears him. The boy stood, looked her in the eye. Speak back. I can't. You must. I don't know what to say. Say what you buried him with. She took a breath. Say it. She opened her mouth. Nothing. The voice rose again, louder, begging. You still got the green flannel, Ruthie? Still sleeping on my side? She closed her eyes. Still whisperin' my name when you cry? Her knees wobbled. The boy grabbed her wrist. Now! She leaned over, her voice cracked, small. Elias Wade Coulter. The well shook. She shouted louder. That's the name I buried you with. That's the name I marked your stone. The wind screamed up. You don't belong here, she said. You gave your word. You traded your voice. And now you take nothing else. The stones rattled. The boy clutched his chest. I said it, she whispered. The well roared. The boy fell to his knees and screamed. Not Wade's voice. Not borrowed. His own. Young. Real. Full of pain. His skin split at the edges of his mouth. His jaw clenched wide. Make it stop, he cried. You brought it back, she said. I didn't mean to. You opened the cellar. I didn't know. You wore his boots. I was cold. You called my name. I wanted to hear it right. Ruth knelt, put her hand on his shoulder. Then listen now. The well groaned. The voice shifted. Something broke below. The scream stopped. The wind vanished. The trees stopped swaying. Silence. The boy lay breathing, face pale. She looked down the well. Nothing, no sound, no breath, no echo. You think it's gone? He asked. It left. How do you know? I told it its name. The boy sat up slow. Doesn't mean it died. Doesn't have to. He looked at her. What now? She stood. Now I go. Where? Back. He looked down. You won't find me there. I know. He reached into his coat, pulled out the silver chain, her wedding ring still threaded. Yours now, he said. She took it, slid it into her coat. You'll forget me? No. Good. He smiled once, tired, worn. I don't want to go back in. You already have. He nodded, then turned, walked toward the church, toward the graves, toward the place the flood first touched. She watched until he was gone. The well stayed quiet. She walked home slow, didn't speak, didn't look back. The revolver stayed cold in her hand. The porch was empty. Beau was gone. Inside, the house was warm, lights low, no fire needed. She set the gun on the table, unloaded it, hung the coat. The boots were still by the door, dry. She didn't touch them. The clock ticked again, no longer fast, no longer slow. She stepped into the hall, turned out the light, and sat in silence. For once, her own. She didn't touch them. The clock ticked again, no longer fast, no longer slow. She stepped into the hall, turned out the light, and sat in silence. For once, her own. The silence didn't last. The boards under the porch groaned once, long and low. Not footsteps, just weight shifting, like someone settled in to wait. Ruth held her breath. Who's there? She asked. Nothing. She reached for the revolver on the table, cold metal steady in her hand. The groan came again. She stood, walked to the door, pressed her ear against it. Say something. A whisper leaked through the wood. You already did. Her knees weakened. Boy? No answer. Elias. Silence. She opened the door, a crack. The porch was empty. The night stretched quiet. The boots were still by the door, still upright. She lifted one. It was heavier now, the sole damp. Not again, she whispered. From the far edge of the yard came a sound, low, scraping, a shovel in dirt. She stepped outside, gun raised. Show yourself. The shovel hit stone. She walked faster, boots cutting the frost. By the creek, the earth had been turned, a shallow pit. No figure digging now, just the tool stuck upright, handle swaying in the wind. Ruth pointed the revolver at the hole. You're not taking him back, she said. The wind answered, pushing her coat tight against her frame. From the pit came a voice. Not Wade's, not the boy's, her own. Ruthie, you promised you'd leave. Her chest tightened. She stepped back, gun shaking. I didn't say that. You wrote it, the pit whispered. The letter in the box. Her throat dried. That letter's gone. Number you buried it again. Words don't rot. She crouched, stared into the hole. Only blackness. What do you want? Her voice from below laughed. You know. The truth said out loud. I've said enough. Not yet. Ruth closed her eyes. The revolver hung loose at her side. All right, she whispered. She opened her mouth, and for the first time since Wade died, she told the earth what she never said to him alive. I hated him every winter after the first. I stayed out of pity, out of fear, out of habit. I hated his boots by the door. I hated his voice in the dark. And I hated myself more for not leaving. The ground stilled. The shovel stopped swaying. The whisper faded. Her breath broke sharp. The night settled. No echo, no voice, no sound but the creek running swollen with melt. Ruth dropped the revolver into the pit. Heard it strike stone. Didn't care. She turned, walked back slow toward the house. At the porch, she paused. The boots were gone. She didn't cry, didn't speak. She stepped inside, shut the door, and locked it. This time, the silence stayed hers.